Are you struggling to improve your squatting? And maybe you haven't practiced how squatting was learned in the first place. And by the end of this video, you will learn how to improve your Asian squat, also known as Primal Squat, using the 3 primal movement exercises. And if you haven't watched my other video, and be sure to check it out. If you want to learn how to retrain your body and then movement safely and then effectively and then move better, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to be notified when I post a new video every week. I am Taro Iwamoto. I am a Feldenkrais practitioner with my background in athletic training, physical therapy, martial arts, and the Feldenkrais method. I have helped many people like you overcome and then move beyond the pain and the limitations. Now it's your turn, and let's dive in. In order to improve your squat, you need to understand how you learned to squat in the first place. Most people practice squatting from standing, but developmentally, we all learn to roll, sit, and squat, and stand. So it would make more sense to practice squatting from the ground up if you want to improve and restore good squatting movement patterns. I will show you 3 primal movement exercises to improve your squatting. So you're going to be sitting on the floor for the first exercise. Barefoot I prefer, but you can have your shoes on, that's fine. So sit cross-legged like so. And you're going to reach with your right hand and grab the whole of your right foot, like so, you see? And if this is too hard for you, and you can hold your ankle, your shin with your hand from the outside, okay? So, but if you are able to reach and grab the whole of your foot from the outside, like so, and then from here, you're going to slowly begin to lift your foot up away from the floor and bring it towards you, right there. And for some of you, this might be very challenging to lift it up. Okay? The reason why this is challenging is because of the lack of coordination between your leg and your torso, your spine. And then the babies will learn to coordinate the legs and the spine as they learn to roll on their back first. And so when this is a really fundamental movement pattern that is a precursor to sitting and squatting later. So what you're going to do is as you lift your foot up, and you're going to shift your weight back, and then you're going to round your back if you're keeping your spine rigid. And it makes it really hard to lift your foot up, right? So you're going to round your spine, and then you can lift it up. And now from here, you're going to move your knee outside of your elbow. There. And then you're going to move your knee to the inside of your elbow, like so. So you're going to use to coordinate your torso with your legs so that movement becomes easier. Right? So your leg and your torso, they have to work together. If you don't have this one, and then the babies will not learn to sit and squat. So you got to restore this movement first. So take your time. It's not so much about flexibility of the hip itself. It is more the coordination of the hip and your spine. So they have to work together. So just working on these movement patterns, and until this movement becomes fairly easy. Again, if this is too hard, okay, you can do this, or you can grab a sock. That might work, okay? Here. So it is intention or the goal for this exercise is not to isolate the movement of the hips. If you have a really good mobility of the hip joint, then you might find that it's pretty easy to do this one without even using your torso. But that's not how we initially learn to squat first. So we have to learn to coordinate your torso with your legs. And once you've done that on one side, and then going to the other side. So I don't know how many repetitions, it's just focusing on the quality of the movement. So it doesn't matter, it might take a little more time, or yeah, you may do 10 times. If you get tired and then you really lose the quality of the movement, then no point of continuing to do the movement, so you gotta stop, okay? Only the good quality movement counts, because what's your goal? Your goal is to improve your squat patterns, right? So you can't just do the movements and hoping this will improve it somehow. You gotta really be intentional with your movements. So how can you coordinate with your torso so that your legs can move pretty easily? And that's the first one. And then let's move on to the second one. Second one, you're going to get on the hands and knees. And you're going to put your toes standing instead of feet flat, because where we're going is we're going to be eventually going to be in a squat, right? So you want to be prepare your toes, your feet into that directions. So from here, you're going to move your hips back and rock your hips back, moving your hips back towards the heels, and here. So with this exercise, I'm going to try a couple variations. The first one, as you move your hips back, you're going to round your spine. Then as you come forward, you're going to arch your back, round your spine, rock your back, rock forward, and arch your spine. Coordination, okay, it's the coordination. So focus on the coordination and timings until this movement becomes fairly easy for you. And then the next pattern is, now you're going to rock your pelvis back, but this time you're going to arch your back. So you're going to reverse that movement over your torso, your spine, with the movement of the hips. And then as you come forward, you're going to round. So these both movement patterns will become very helpful, because at some point your spine has to be able to move into the extension as well as move into the flexion. So if it is able to coordinate in either directions with the hips moving into the flexion, and that is going to be quite helpful. So you're going to practice that, and that's the second exercise. And the last one, number 3, and it's kind of continuation from this number 2, second exercise. Same position. And from here, what you're going to do is first rock back, and then I'm going to lift one knee up. Okay? So now I'm half squatting, and then bring your knee back down, rock back, and you can walk your hands towards you and here. So you'll be sitting like this, and then so this is going to require another coordination between your hips, ankle, knee, and your torso. And go through that movement on one side and then switch sides. You do similar things. I'll turn around here. And now you're going to do both sides. Here, rock back, walk your hands towards you, and then bring your heels down to the floor. Okay, now in a squat position, right? And walk your hands forward, bring your knees down. right? So you have to remember, as babies, we learn to do that first. We didn't just stand. We didn't learn to stand to squat. We learned to from the hands and knees, or from sitting, and to squatting, and then eventually up to standing. So this is a natural progression, but yet in most fitness, and we focus on the squatting and so much from the standing and down. And when you're improving, when people focusing on improving squat techniques and mechanics, you only look at from the top-down movement, but not from the bottom-up movements. So look, when you come up and from hands and knees, and then here, now you're in a place that you have your skeletons well organized to standing. Okay, so if you don't have that, then you're practicing from a standing to squatting, and you're really reinforcing inefficient movement patterns. And that's why you repeat the same movement patterns, and then you're not really getting a lot of improvements by repeating the same inefficient movement patterns. You have to relearn the movement patterns from the ground up. That's how you learn in the first place, right? So just as in a variation, right? Once you learn to do this, if that's too hard, you can modify it, because maybe your ankles, the joints, not as mobile as it used to be. So you may need to place something underneath the heels, place the half foam roller, towels, or stackable books, or something like that to accommodate that range of motion, the lack of ankle, those flexions. But once you're getting into the squat positions, and then you can just work on a little bit of coordination movement, right? Cat and cow movement, like arching, rounding the spine a little bit, like that. Okay, so this is an extra part. You can play more movements in the squat position, but then how the babies learn to stand from squatting is they initially learn to pull themselves up from a furniture, from a chair or something. So then they'll come up to stand. So that's the beginning of squats. So I just pick a few exercises, only 3 exercises, and fundamental movement patterns to improve the squatting patterns. So leave your comment and questions below. If you want to improve your back pain, be sure to grab your free movement guide to pain-free back at the link below. Check out these videos, and if you like this video, and hit that like button, and be sure to subscribe and share with your friends. Comment below how helpful you found this video was. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Happy mindful movement. Bye-bye.